I have been looking for a copy of this TSR game from 1981, Vampire, for quite some time. This is a micro game that was published. Here are some of the credits, at least, of the game. And I finally found it for sale on BGG. It was offered by a shop in Cologne, Germany, and I'm going to put up the URL for the shop. They have a huge amount of vintage board games, and I suggest that you check it out if you're interested in anything vintage. They will ship worldwide, and obviously they are in Germany. So I got this great copy of Vampire, and I had been looking for this for quite some time because I felt that it would offer me a structure to pair it with this game, Blades in the Dark. This is a rule set, an RPG rule set by John Harper, and I purchased this a long time ago. Let's see, show you the credits here. Well, it's 2017. You can see the credits here on, it's an Evil Hat Productions publication, and here are the credits for it. I purchased this game a while ago and had some feeling that I wanted to develop a way of playing a solo adventure. And without giving it too much thought, this game, Vampire, came to mind as the possibility for a structural setting for it. And as I said, it took me a really long time to get a copy of Vampire. Vampire is a adventure game, I guess you would call it, that is pretty simple roll and move, although it is described as having role play elements, which is, that's debatable in terms of the basic rules. But the story is based quite explicitly, it even tells us with a quote from the novel in the back, in the world of Bram Stoker and his novel Dracula. And here is one of my many copies of this game. This is the copy I read as a kid, and it was like super creepy. And I've been rereading it in preparation to create the adventure that I want to create, which is going to take the characters from the novel that are in this game and some of the basic structure of this game, which is essentially roll and move and search for Dracula to find him and defeat him, and you have some items that you could use, but add to it the mechanics and some of the ideas behind Blades in the Dark. This video is going to talk about some of the reasons why I chose Blades in the Dark to go with Vampire and give you some pointers for perhaps your own work on taking an RPG set and pairing it with some existing game to create an adventure for yourself. I don't think there's going to be actual gameplay in this video. There's going to be discussion about some of the bigger concepts to get you going, either in trying to do something like this or trying to do something in with some other totally different rule set and some other totally different game, and putting them together to create something new. A game like Vampire makes a great foundation, I think, for what I'm trying to do here, which is to basically create a one-off adventure for myself that gives RPG elements in the sense of flexibility of options and actions of things to do, and a way of interacting with the environment that feels or gives the illusion of being fluid. Now, in this particular game, there's two parts to the game. There's the overland part where you're traveling through Transylvania and going to these various places, and it's a basic search mechanic, as mentioned, where you have chits that are to be revealed as you get there, and a random roll to see if you're encountering some of the wildlife or denizens of the area, and ultimately uncovering the coffin with Dracula in it. And then you can continue to play within the castle of Dracula in these various rooms and things like that. So you have the suggestion here of well, more than the suggestion, really. You have things that you can possibly find and what they will add to your rolls if you encounter them. And you can see here on the combat table the fairly basic encounters that you can have, who they might be, and what the results are, rolling your dice with any modifiers. It's a very simple system. It helps, and here we can, in the list of game pieces, you can see the what's here and the characters. And these are characters from the book, and they are characters that are in the game and form your traveling party. It was really this that helped me connect it to a possibility of working with Blades in the Dark. Because one of the things that Blades in the Dark does is to provide a system with not only characters, as you can see here, but there is a crew, and the crew itself has a character sheet or a crew sheet, and it has its own attributes. So in one of the many interesting things of this system is that it's providing as I said, a characterization for a group of people and attributes for a group of people. And that I felt could be relevant to what was already going on here in terms of the basic mechanics here. And you can choose the different types of crew that you would want there to be, and to go with the theme here, it would either be an assassin, because ultimately you're looking for Dracula, or perhaps something like thieves and spies, the shadows, because they're looking around for things. But again, it's not going to be an actual one-on-one mapping. I did notice in here that there are stats for a vampire in here, and I think that is something I would certainly bring into play. I can't easily find them right now. And the individual characters in this RPG can be mapped onto, in terms of the attributes, some of the characters here. And it depends on how much you want to get into detail. My original thought was that I was really going to try to base it very as much as I could on the actual characters in the book and how they act in the book, and that's why I started rereading the novel. But the main point to make is that in finding a system, a game system, to have bring into it an RPG system, if it is limited in scope, if it is something that already has a lore or a world that you kind of know, a lot of the work is already done for you. So in terms of the Dracula story, the vampire myth that we know so well, or at least many of us know so well because we've either read Dracula or played other games in this type of genre, and the notion of having some sense of what Transylvania is, and Castle Dracula already evokes a feeling and a kind of theme. This does so much of the work for you, and I think makes it possible to take a simple system like a roll, move, search kind of thing in this game, and bring into it characters that come from an RPG and the attributes that they have and the things that they can do, sneaking around, lurking in the shadows, trying to assassinate, and provide the richness for you as a player when you are acting both as the GM and the player, because so much of the world building already pre-exists. 5 suggestions for choosing an RPG to pair with a game. On the RPG side of things, you certainly want something whose general setting is going to fit with the general setting of the game. And even opening this book up here to the first page with this piece of art and the setting describing a cold, foggy city, the rest of it will flow, and the world of your RPG, the way the characters are described, the actions that they take, should automatically be matched on some level thematically with the game that you're choosing, so they're not at odds with each other. Additionally, I think for the RPG, it should be relatively mechanics light in terms of die rolling and such, so that the fiction that you are putting onto this game really can flow without a lot of detail and pre-existing mechanics from the RPG, because they're not going to match up entirely. So you want that to be as seamless as possible. Also, find something, as I mentioned here with Blades in the Dark and this idea of the crew, find something whose key mechanic of the game or key idea of the RPG rule set matches with something that is going to be happening in the board game that you are choosing. As to the board game, I think starting with microgames and looking back to the past of microgames is a very good idea because they are obviously very limited in scope, and many of them, Vampire is just the one, have pre-existing lore and environments that they are built into, and this world building has already been done for you. So it creates a lot of structure and theme just from the get-go that will put you into the story that you're developing.